Welcome. In this video, I want to share a little bit from my own perspective about if you're a spiritual person, maybe you have been working like I am, maybe you have more time, maybe you would like to do it, and you don't know exactly how to deal with social media, scams and frauds, and the control of the information, the hate. I wanted to share what I have learned since I started Encoded frequency, and hopefully take your notes and at the same time get whatever that will serve you the most and disregard the rest. I want to clarify that I tried to record normally with a full screen, but for some reason the video would not rotate, so I decided to go with the flow. When I started in Facebook, I started because light language came to me after my third eye was opened, and I had no idea about what it was. I thought I wasn't seen. I thought I was so messed up, because indeed I was. People said to me that I needed to go holy and that I wasn't seen, that I needed to go back to church, because I don't think I believed in God when I started seeing angels. I have shared this in videos before. But after I began seeing angels, then I started seeing faces and symbols and light and auras. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to understand it. So I asked persons next to me. No one had any idea about what to do. And this is when social media came to the scene. I am normally a very private person. I like to keep my things like in a selective space. I'm not the type of person that I'm very open. I never have been. I am extrovert, but believe it or not, I am actually very introvert. I'm maybe like half and half. So I didn't want to have Facebook. I didn't want to have MySpace. I don't know if you remember MySpace. Well, I said, I don't like those social media things. So from my time, maybe you're younger than me, maybe social media was not the way to connect with persons. You would use a phone, you would use letters, right? So I realized that online there were more persons like me having weird situations. Someone said to me that I had stigma, that it was a stigma because I was covered on glitter, right? So this was a type of stigma. You know that there are some persons that have like the holes of Jesus with pouring blood, stuff like that. That is one of the stigmata or stigma. I'm not sure exactly in English how it is, that some people may have. Well, in my case, I'll just glow, right? Kind of get natural makeup, which was amazing, especially when I used to cry a lot. I had a lot of problems. I was sick. My life was a disaster. So I didn't know what to do. Apparently, there was no solution in life. So I would cry. And when the tears will just like dry, it will look like glitter on me, like very tiny. And when I still do healing with angels, I still have the glitter in my hands and in my arms, and sometimes in my neck or my face. You can see that through. It's like very tiny. You can like barely see it through video. And I began searching online. Someone said to me that it was a type of physical stigma that Mother Mary had from in Mexico, and people pray, because in Mexico, when I grew up, the majority of the time, people are very Catholic and they believe a lot in more Virgin Mary. But at that time, I wasn't believing in God. I told God, just forget about me. So Facebook was a place where I could draw what I was seeing and then say, I did this. I dreamt of this woman. I think it's me, from a place that it was in a war and I was in jail and it was horrible and I had like a sheep in my head and I have no idea what that is. And then someone would say to me, well, I think that's Orion. And I was like, Orion, what is that? Well, that's a constellation that is a star race. You can look for it. And I was like, oh, and then like on Google. So Facebook was the bridge for me to connect with persons that I could relate, that they would understand me, and that I would feel a type of belonging, because I realized I was not the only one. There were many others having the same symptoms, we can say, and now there are more. I have done sessions on persons that they just woke up, have no idea about spirituality like I was, and they are doing light language, or they had its own light language awakening, which I found amazing. So, just to summarize, it was just what I needed, a platform to connect, to grow, and to learn about what was happening to me, and then meet other mindful people that could teach me and I could learn. And then I joined a membership for meditations, and that was very helpful, and I began having friends who will practice our own psychic things, and it was fun and it was great. And I did not even wanted to put myself on Gretel name, so I was going to Carolina, that is my second name, using my second last name, because in Mexico you have 2 names and 2 last names, because I wanted my family or all friends to figure out what was happening to me, because they would have laughed at me like I laughed the first time I went to a retreat in church and one of my friends began doing tongues. I was like, oh my God, she just wants attention. And I remember that I criticized and judged her because I didn't understand. It was scary, right? It sounded like she was having like an epilepsy thing. And then I remember that some persons from church came and say that she had like a demon. They would do like an exorcism. And then another person began throwing up. So it was a kind of, church thing, not pleasant at all. So the first experience that I had with light language, I think I was 14 or 15, and I judged and criticized like right away. So when it happened to me, I would do the same upon me. I would criticize me and judge me, and I would be scared. I wasn't knowing what's going on. And after having a lot of resistance, and I was already doing drawings for my friends, and then the friends of my friends, and then some people contacted me and give donations. People begin to say, hey, just go more professional. But I didn't want it because I was scared. I had my office job, and in my office job, while I was doing my job, I will do drawings, right? While I was in my computer and in my lunchtime, and so on and so on. And Clear Frequency was not even on the radio. I was just Carolina. Then an artist approached me and says, hey, you cannot keep doing donations because I'm charging $100 for the same thing you're asking for a donation. So you lower my price. So please go and open your business, right? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I need to go professional. So I was kind of like push, because I kind of felt bad that maybe I was doing something wrong. And I said, okay. And I had so much resistance that I not even look for names. The first name that came to me, I added, and I even do it with spelling wrong. And for a year, I'm living like that. People will message me and say, girl, you know that frequency is wrong. And I was saying like, yeah, like, yes, like I didn't even want it because I was scared about the judgment that I had placed about other religious things that I couldn't understand, that were scary. So I was doing the same thing of myself. I was not showing up. People did not know my face. I was not doing lives or meditations or anything. I was just doing the drawings. And Encoded frequency was never a place for me to get money from you or to do this for a living. I didn't want to be seen. I completely understand when someone came to me and said, I want to do this, but how I put myself out there. I went through that. I know what it feels like. And many persons that are spiritual are not on social media. I get it. For me, around my city, it was spiritual persons, but not doing light language. So I need to find someone across the ocean that could understand me, that we could understand each other and bond. And basically, the universe pushed me because I was learning that it was okay to be me, that I needed to accept my destiny, my gifts, and that regardless of whatever judgment I could have on myself, or persons will think about what I was doing, I needed to put that out there because it feel like when you have something right here and you don't want to say it and then you swallow it and then you feel like I don't know. So when I opened Encoded Frequency, I had my job and then I just put my services. People began to request them, but I was not thinking on any formal. It was just like my hobby. Then one day I decided to do a course and put myself out there. And I am so thankful for those persons that trust on me because I didn't know what I was doing, honestly. And in that area, I'm going to go into the scams and the frauds and all of the things in spirituality that sometimes is not truthful, because maybe there is someone that is doing it for the money or to get the energy from other persons. There are many persons doing these, and not everyone is truthful. But, right, God writes even in twisted lines, so I assume that there is a purpose for it. And even if it's doing it because one likes and maybe it's a lack of self-esteem or it's an energy vampire or whatever, if that person helps one, then that's it. It did good, right? So when I did my first course, I had so many persons asking me about, how do you understand? What are you saying? That I said, you know what? I said, like, I'm just gonna do a course and then that's it, sharing whatever I know. And I did it, and then like 44 persons signed up, and I was like, oh my God, now what I am going to do? I freak out because I didn't know what to do. I studied to be a teacher in university, English teacher, but I didn't finish. I did 2.5 years. And then I went to university earlier, and then I studied to be a psychologist. I couldn't finish. I had the money for it. So I did like 2.5 years. And then I was a trainer for the restaurant Chili's, and I did that like for 2 years. So I had experience giving classes, but not a spiritual classes. So I was a mess. That first module, I was a mess. I didn't know what to do. I had lots of spellings, and one of my students says, Gretel, I work on marketing. Do you want me to correct the information for you? And I was like, oh my God, like, do you want it? So those first students taught me a lot. They gave feedback because I think they appreciate me and they were patient with me, and in a way that, hey, I don't know, your sound or it was a lot of noise in the background, or we couldn't understand or something. So I learned with all of you guys, and I keep learning. And then page grow. out of the blue, probably because I wasn't paying attention of it. And because of the course, I need to send videos from it. And then I asked one of my other friends, the one who are now I purchase music, like, can you assist? I have no idea how to edit videos, blah, 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 it's so hard. And then he said, yes, I could assist, but you're gonna have to do it on your YouTube channel, because I was sending them to Drive, but it was hard for some of them to download it. It was complicated. So I said, oh, I don't want to do it on YouTube. I don't want to be on YouTube. I don't want to be seen. And then he said, you don't have to be seen. We'll just put your drawing. So I said, okay, whatever. So I was kind of like forced. And then I needed to surrender. That was the first lesson. And then when I realized the page grow and grow and grow, and I think in quarantine it was when I began doing lives, because I had auto in my work that it was paid time off, and I said, well, maybe I would just like put myself out there, because I wasn't home and by the time was paid, and then it was like a fun thing to go through quarantine. And then when I realized I've been to having a lot of sessions and then courses and blah, 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 blah. And then when in my job, they say, hey, Gretel, come back. We're ready to go to the office again. I said, I quit. I don't think I need that anymore, because encoded frequency grow and grow and grow. And I said, I risk it. I'm going to bet that I will have all I need, and I will just go with the flow, because it was a door I did not set intention to create it. It was created for me, and it was open, and I was kind of like, enter, enter, enter. And I assumed that I was going to have everything that I needed. And at the beginning, it was hard to trust that I was going to be supported by the universe. But everything is part of your own journey and your own mastery. And then page went big and big and big and big and big and big and big. The first time I was invited to a global gathering meditation doing light language, someone approached me, and then it was persons that I would follow on YouTube. And I was so nervous, that nervous that I had diarrhea after the gathering. I was just going to do 7 minutes live meditation, but I was shaking. I was afraid. I was insecure. But then I said, you know what? I don't care if people like me or not, but I want to overcome my insecurity, my fear. I want to feel that if they invite me, I'm not asking for it. I don't even know who are they. I assume that I'm going to be okay. So I will just go through. So my own competition, it's me. And after that I had diarrhea and everything, I said, oh my God, I did it, right? Oh, it was like, and then I have done few of them, few collaborations, and every time I'll get nervous, and then my friends will say, oh, you did great, you look awesome, but they don't know that I'm shaking inside, and it's okay. It's okay, because, and this is part of going with the hate and the fraud and the scam and the Facebook control. You don't have to put yourself out there. I know someone, and she is always full of appointments, and she doesn't even have social media. Her way to get her clients is by recommendation. And that's awesome. I think for me, I went out there because I needed to honor the weird aspect of me and embrace it and adore it and learn to love it, and said, you know what, it's okay. I'm gonna be okay, because I needed to see myself, yes, regardless of encoded frequency, because I could have named it with my name like many of the public persons, but I didn't feel necessarily put like Gretel on it, right? It was just like a general name. But with the page, and the more bigger the page grow, the more lessons that I was getting from it. But it's worth it. It's worth it because you will grow. The first lesson that I learned it is that you have to learn how to go up the mountain, but also you have to learn how to go down. Because everything that it's up, it's down. And because you have 10,000 followers or whatever, it doesn't mean you are a master or you know it all or your life is figured out. But if people, the same people that put you out there, put you down one day because someone else came with a new things, that's okay. Maybe that's not my path anymore, or I need to renovate or rechange or whatever. But the first time that things were not the way I expected, I knew that I needed to learn how to went down too. And it was, for me, I was learning how to be humble and not think I was like the top of the thing. Because everything, it appears as if it was too easy to go big. That in order for me to remain humble and grounded, the page has be abundant and then it isn't. So whenever it's abundant, I appreciate otra vez, or I say it in Spanish, I appreciate it again, and then I appreciate every part of it, because it's not about having followers or having a lot of sessions. It's about the journey itself and enjoying every aspect of it. Because even having too many sessions, it's like, oh, right? I'm so tired. And then you don't have none, and then you said, oh my God, I want sessions. So maybe we are insatisfied like all the time, because it's part about wanting more and growing and evolving, and it's okay. But the second lesson that I learned, it is that your friends are going to be there with you regardless of you are going up the mountain or down the mountain. Yes. I think the first persons that begin noticing how many followers and likes I had were my circle of friends. And that was very hard. I cried, I think, for a week. It was very hard to lose them because we're very connected, and it was the group of friends that we practiced together, Reiki and channeling and all that stuff. And then when it began having gossiping and like, why do you have 3,000 followers? I have been doing this for 20 years and I have 1,000. What are you doing? And all of those comments, that for me, it was, you know what? That's it. I understand that maybe we change frequency. So I appreciate what we learned together and then move on. But it was like a breakup with a partner, right? And then a new lesson came. I was an admin from a big group of codes that it was when I flourished, I think, in light language. It was one of the hardest lessons in spirituality, because we were, I think, 10 or 12 or 8 spiritual persons. I was a moderator. The main 8 were persons doing this for 10 or 20 years. And it was a lot of judgment. It was a lot of critique. Sometimes I would say, God, where is your spirituality? Regardless of if you will erase a post or not. And the persons on the group were feeling like judged, like, why you take it down, right? I channeled that. And it was having that judgment about what should go on and what shouldn't. It was a hard thing for me. And I think after a year, I said, you know what? No more, right? Because being part of the admin group of a Facebook would give you benefits. Like you could advertise yourself, blah, blah, blah. And it was good income. And it was a very stable group. But the environment of the group, it was beautiful, but not the admin group. It was hard. It was hard because sometimes you meet a spiritual person and you hope that because it's channeling Jesus or God itself or something, it will show some of what it's learning. But I realized that we're all human beings, and sometimes you're upset. And for me, I was asking myself, when do my right to say if a person is right or wrong ends? So someone else's can choose to say whatever they want to, right? So setting those parameters, those boundaries, it was hard because it's all depending on which side you see it. And then you will see a lot of things on spirituality that are not that from the light, but are painted on things. Like, for example, persons that will quote satanic symbolism, and then they will say this is coming from Mother Mary with flowers on it, and then someone will say, oh my God, this is satanic, this is dark witch things, and then we'll post the thing, and they will say, oh my God, it doesn't look like, right? So what do? Let's take it down. And then someone will say, but if you take it down, you are controlling the capacity for that person to put that out there. If no one knows, it ain't going to do anything, right? If you don't agree. Yes, but we're allowing something dark to come through. And then another one said, yes, but sources from light and dark. So we will all have these fights like every day about what to allow and what you shouldn't allow. Once someone was posting a light language video about from a ritual, like shamanic ritual, when you could see that lady was drugged because they were natural medicine, and she had no bra, she had like a thing, and the guy was actually touching part of her boob, right? So we were like, oh my God, how that person dared to do that, take it down. And another occasion, someone was, I assume, marijuana or something, or mushrooms or whatever, and decided to learn language in her bra. Maybe alcohol, I have no idea. As soon as I saw the live, because we needed to watch the whole live and the whole video to see if that would be approved, I was like, it was hard to took that image of her was haunting me like for 3 days, and I was like, it was disgusting. I needed to take that down. And of course, the person, when I took it down, why the admins did that? It was my right. I was doing language from the fairies and whatever. And again, right? Her right to put herself out there. And maybe for me, it wasn't comfortable to see her in her bra. And then someone was said, yes, but what if you could saw her on a pool? That was right. And I was like, yeah, but it just felt like doing like language in your bathing suit, like in match, unless you are doing tantra or you're the partner or something, but not like in a Facebook group, right? It didn't feel right for me. But maybe it's because of my morals. But for others, said okay. For me, it didn't feel good to see a man without shirt doing light language. I don't know. Regardless of if they were hot or not, it was like I didn't match. And I was like, can we please tell men not to do shirtless light language, things like that. But again, I was always facing my morals and how much I would allow judgment to say what was right and what it isn't. And with this example, we go into the Facebook control. I know I hate the Facebook. I have been struggling with that for a while. At the point that I said, well, maybe I will just shut it down, or I just keep going, like, what do I do? But I do understand from the Facebook point, regardless of if they are good or intentions or not, there is a lot of fraud and a lot of fake thing and AI thing that if we see it from the positive perspective, let's see that they are trying to protect the content that's out there. For me, when I have seen images from pedophiles or rituals, cannibals, and things like that, I hate it. And then I have those images haunting me for days, and then I want to unfriend the person because it's not something that I like. I understand that they have the right to denounce that, if that's a correct word, but I don't want to have that amount of graphic explanation about what it is because I'm highly sensitive. So, for example, for me, Facebook announced to us that when 2023 started, they were going to restrict it because there were a lot of accounts, including my own, that were hacked by professionals. So in last November, I had some people from the Middle East hack the page. I received an email that it was branded by Facebook with a link that says that I received many links like that says that the meditations that I placing had like a copyright music, whatever, that some people often will denounce a page because of inappropriate content, because of the aliens, of dragons, or maybe like a woman a bit naked or something. I had plenty of those since the page started, right? So I have been trying to be very careful about not to push someone boundaries like the way I don't like my boundaries to be pushed. But anyway, they say that they had so many, they were going to shut down the page. And I had received emails like that from Facebook, like a dozen of them. At the beginning, I was like very afraid because it was my job. Facebook was my job. But then I said, okay, whatever. I'll just give it to God. The way it came to me, I will just, if it's not meant to be anymore, so be it, right? But that last one in November, when I link it, they got all my information. For some reason, they posted something in Arabic. I assumed that it was like a terrorist thing because since then the page has been marked down like in a red amber alert, like red alert, like terrorist thing. I have no idea. But after that, I haven't been able to work out in social media correctly. I stopped doing the meditations. I'm not doing that many lives. I haven't been able to do ads or anything because they restricted the capacity from the page to do things. And I don't think they closed it because of the amount of people. But the person that hacked the page, I think it was a religious fanatic because they put a paid ad on my name. So I needed to pay like $1,000 that even though that Facebook knew I didn't and I was hacked, it was kind of my fault because I entered in the link from the email that I told was from Facebook, right? So I pay from it. But the post only said, if you believe in Jesus, give a like. And I said, oh, that's so stupid that you're going to hack someone and get their money because you just want people to give like to Jesus, right? For me, it was stupid because it was another religious person trying to, I say religious because we're kind of spiritual persons. Maybe we all do our own religion, right? But it was another person trying to spread light. But through hacking someone else's and using their money from it. Anyway, I was in jail the whole November thing and December, and I'm still in jail from Facebook. I haven't been able to figure out the restrictions that the page earned because of they did not only post, if you like Jesus, give it a like, but they also post something in Arabic that I don't understand. And it was like a very, I don't know, kind of like a felony thing to, I guess, US, that the page have been restricted. And even though when I put like an appeal that says, can you please check? And they said, please check the quality of the page. And the quality of the page is all like marks. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But anyway, it's the lesson of, it's kind of part of going big and putting yourself out there, because I have had many persons that have wanted to impersonate me and then request sessions on my name from the followers, blah 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 blah. And sometimes they don't use a fake profile, but in my post they're gonna put their services or another kind of like vampire persons that are spiritual, because when I go into their profile, they say I do readings, I do tarots, I work with angels. And then when I was doing lives, they were saying like, if she doesn't give you the answer, call me, I do have a message for you. I am, I don't know, the incarnation of Mary Magdalene or whatever. So there are many things that there are many things on social media that you can say we are still working on. So from the whole scam thing, I understood that it was a way for me to make changes, and I have been doing my own research into, first of all, I needed to say, okay, if this door opened without me asking me, what if this door closed? Give up my expectations, because even though I didn't expect Encoded frequency, it has been the best job. I love it. I think I'm perfect. I can meet you guys and we can learn together. And I got a little bit emotional, sorry. And I have met the most amazing friends, even if we begin as clients. And I said, well, first of all, it was a lesson to shrink your ego, and then said, it's okay, life will find another way, right? And said, you know what, I just give it to you because I don't know how to figure it out. And if I find a job again, I will still do it, because I love to draw. Even when no one requests a drawing, I'm always saying, do you want guys who wants to have a free course or something? I love to draw and I love to do it, and I will keep doing. And I think the most important lesson, beyond if I'm a victim or not, it's to go back to your basics and then ask myself, why I'm doing this? Because even though it didn't start like a business, it became a business. But business is not the main reason for Encoded frequency or for Gretel to be part of Encoded frequency. It's to learn with you guys, hopefully that you guys can learn with me, to keep making friends, to keep figuring out together. And it was a part of me having whatever ego, because the same way people may throw hate on you, I can say that I'm very lucky and I barely have hate. Normally people will say beautiful things. And that was another lesson. I didn't know how to take compliments. It was hard. It was hard when people wanted to donate a lot of money to me. I was giving them back. The first time someone gave $500, for a donation for a Reiki before Encoded frequency. I didn't want it to put them in my account. I was saying like, ma'am, I think you made a mistake. You want to put 50 and you add another 0. You want to check that? And she was saying like, no, dear, I felt like you need it and I have it, so it's yours. And I was like, it's a lot. I mean, I don't think it's the right thing. And then she said, well, send Reiki to me the rest of the year. I will request from it. Is that okay for you? And I was like, yes. But I wasn't okay to accept it, right? So that was the first thing. One of the first things I needed to learn. To accept a compliment, to accept a donation, to accept that things are going to be beyond my control because things are going to be the way they are. Another lesson it is that you may not heal everyone. Not everyone may like what you have to say, that you always have an area of opportunity to say, well, maybe I can do things better. Like with the first higher self course, that I was doing a horrible job, but I learned a lot. In every course, I try to do it better and better and better. Sometimes I go very cheap. Sometimes I charge a little bit more, and then I go into whatever I think is needed, regardless of whatever I could charge for the service. I'm trying to go because this is a spiritual thing. What feels right in my heart. Because people, you never have them happy with you. Some people that we said, you charge too little. You are making a business. You are not rich at all, right? So don't define for whatever other people said. Also, don't be asking a lot of people for where you are. Just go with what feels right and bet and on whatever choice you did and go for it. Even if it wasn't the right thing, it will have a lesson for you, like the way I have been doing it. But before this calm and having problems with Facebook and blah blah blah, from the last course, I was asking myself, because in one of the models, it was about the project of your soul. And it was when I asked myself, what if no one pays, no one orders anything, and I need to eat? What am I going to do, right? And then I said, well, I will go back to work and then I'll keep doing it. Of course, less, because I like it. And then I said to myself, I want Encoded frequency always to be there the time that is meant to be, because of the first reason it was open, because it's a way to learn, to grow and connect. If that can be my profession, so be it. If it should not meant to be, then so be it too. I will figure it out, the universe will provide, and it will be another version of Gretel that needs to evolve and grow. And I think my desire was so strong that I manifested the whole thing, because it has been life-changing. It has been life-changing on the ego, going back to the roots, on where I should be and where I want to be. Because regardless of what the collective has been asking, collective has been asking for me to go more into conspiracy that I haven't wanted to go more into. I have had so many invitations about do a premonitions about next year, and I don't like to give premonitions because I think I cut the free will of the person about what they want to choose. Of course, I see the future and I see different things, but I see that the future is plenty options, not only what I can say to people. I have dreamed with scarcity scenarios, but I have said, I don't think it's right for me to go live and say, hey, it's going to shake in that place, because I'm going to transmit fear. So I have been learning to discern what I should say, what I should don't say, and learning also with the ego in the spiritual realm, because the bigger you go into the page and the more famous you go, normally the bigger the ego it is. And you get used to be high and have compliments and blah, blah, blah. And I know this and I have done blah, 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 blah. But it's not about that. It's not about even what I could do or where I am. It's about how true. And I think this is the main lesson for Gretel and for Encoded Frequency. I have been asking all of those questions, like, for example, I purchased a course once because I was doing Akashic Records on the session. Some things for lifetimes came, but I thought I needed a course. So I paid like 250 euros. That for me was a lot of money. And the course was nothing. It was like 3 videos from a person that she recorded in a retreat that she gave from persons, and they recorded and she was selling, and then a PDF that give you an invocation to open the Akashic Records. And it was it. And I was like, this is not worth it, the amount. But I was upgraded anyway. So in a way, I think she passed her seat to me. And I appreciate. But then I said, girl, you have to be aware about the price that you do, the content that you give, because it has to be fair, because it's a spiritual thing. Maybe if I do Botox or I fix nails or whatever, it doesn't matter how much I want to charge, but it's a spiritual thing. And the main reason to exchange is not because I need to pay my bills, it's because you want to assist, you want to be at service, you want to learn, maybe you are good at being a healer or whatever. So I have been learning a lot of things. I have done exchange sessions with persons that are very famous, and sometimes you said, God, I mean, it's hard not to judge the ego that we can have. And then I said to myself, because there is a storybook. My grandma used to tell lots of stories when I was a child. So she used to tell one, and this is for the Jew culture. She said that the levels of compassion, it's called. So in the first level, you want to do good, but you want to do good because you want to be seen. I'm going to put it on my words because I don't remember how it is. So maybe I want to donate this, but I take pictures and then I bring the media and I want everyone to know that I give it to whom I want it, because that person is going to give something on exchange to me. So maybe in the other level, I'm bringing the social media and everyone knows, but I have no idea who I'm giving it. And maybe in the other level, a little bit more truth, I'm giving it from someone I know because I want to give to that person, but I don't bring the social media, right? But maybe in the next level, no one knows I give that, but I give it to a random person. And then in the last level, the more true, Grandma used to say that you just give just because the action of giving. You don't even need to know to whom you're giving it. You know that it's going to be there for whoever it needs to receive it. Just because the act of giving. But then I remember that Grandma said, but no matter in which level of giving you are and accountable in your integrity, you are doing good anyway. Because even in the first example that I want to be seen and that I do it for my ego and I give to a person because I'm going to get a change, I'm giving anyway. So the first giving, it's no more given or no more greater than the last one. They're all given. It's just what I become because of that action is the difference on it. So even if maybe I have done in my ego. Maybe I haven't seen the truth. Maybe I want to be seen, or maybe someone else. They're good on sharing the light. Even the one that did light language and bra. Even the one that was touching the lady in the booth by doing a light language activation while he had it all mergem swirl, right? It's just a seed. And maybe that seed, the highest good is going to be that someone says, I don't think you're true. I don't like what you do. You are doing demon stuff. I will block you. Because I have had that comment. And then I remembered that I made the same judgment to my friend in church that she was speaking in tongues. I said, she just wants attention, right? An exorcism? Come on. So maybe we have all been in the position that you judge yourself or someone else, or you are judged, or you feel the victim, or you are the one who could have done things better. But regardless of if it's a spiritual thing or it isn't, it doesn't matter the action of what it was done or we done. Is what we become because of it. Because if someone insulted me, but I'm so whole and centered that I don't break, I'm gonna be immune to that. I'm not gonna be affected. And maybe it was the highest outcome because it proved that I'm doing things right. But if I feel offended, if I begin to exchange, then maybe that person is doing the highest outcome because it's pointing to a wound that I do have open, regardless of whatever that wound is. So to the eyes of the spirit, this is going to be a journey of little imperfections that are going to be perfect. Because regardless of if you put yourself out there, or I put myself out there, or maybe we do your service through your family and the ones that you love, and to yourself or your city or whatever, is what we become of what we do. In the whole journey, it's not one thing, like having 25,000 followers, or being rich, or being friends with the Arcturians, or being a contactee. It's the whole thing. It's what I learned from it. And sometimes, this is another thing that I wanted you guys to share. I think the first block about going big and unleashing yourself is what could happen. That you may be judged, like I have been. That you may have received hate, the scam, the fraud, the price that you go through. But regardless of if you choose to do it the way I have been, or you have any other way, your way is no more valid than my way. And there are all ways to go the line and find the line. And at the end, that is all that matters. But the most biggest fear that I never thought that it will just hold me from my own power, it is fear of being happy or successful. And it's because of all of the because or the buts we add and we attach to that we see. Because we normally compare ourselves to whatever we see and think that our journey should be equally to whomever. And it isn't. If you talk to the majority of the spiritual community, they will say that if you wash your teeth with fluoride dentifric, I think is the word, or eat meat, you're not going to have your eye open. And I do have the two friends that they eat meat. One of them smoked and got mushrooms and weed and stuff like that, and he did everything. And the other, she was a vegan. She went to India for a long time. She went with yogis. Her third eye, it's insanely open, more than mine. And then when she came back, she said, after being vegan, Gretel, for so many years, I realized it was a belief that I had from my ancestors that I didn't create it, that I was afraid about what food could do to me. And because I didn't want it to be restricted on whatever I want, I took it away. And now I do whatever I want. And I said, oh my God, that's so bold. But it's not about if you should eat meat or not, or have fluoride or not. Thank you so much. It's about what we become of it, right? So allow yourself to ask, after all of this story, and sorry for my tears, to ask yourself, in which areas of my life I am leashing from my full potential. Because my leash, it was fear to be seen, fear to be judged and criticized, and fear to put myself out there and reveal in transparency what I am and what comes through. And it was hard to be honest and transparent and to have the most integrity that I can. I'm still learning, but it has been worth it on my side, even regardless of if the page goes big or not, or have many sessions or not. What I am becoming and transforming, I love it. Greater than last year and 2 years ago and 5 years ago. And if, regardless of the conditions, I keep feeling connected with myself and learning to be gentle and love, regardless of if I go out and said I'm a contactee or not, then it's worth it. So if whatever I can share with you about, and yesterday I had an email from a company that's called ASOS that wanted to give free clothing for me to say in my videos that I am wearing ASOS clothing, whatever. They wanted to do a contract, and it was like a good money. And I said, that's weird because I'm not that young, right? And that like sexy thing, like to be promoting clothing, but I can be open, right? Like the way I was open for Encoded frequency, and then, but I wasn't sure if it was a scam or not because it looked so professional. They gave me a name, it was branded, and then when I go into the link, it was sending me directly to the company. So it was no way that I would detect it was a fraud. Not even my antivirus, I think it's called, on my computer, that is very good. If I wanted to open a page and it's not safe, it will say, you're not allowed, it's not safe. And I'm like, right? But my computer didn't detect it, and it all looked professional. So I say to my son, okay, what do you think? Should I fill the information, my information on it in the form? It's like good money and I'll have free clothing and I would love that. Or what do you think? And so we tried to investigate. The brand existed, it all looked professional, it was branded, it was imprinted, everything. And then I was going to add my whole information, but something caught my eye because my son whispered to me like 3 times, and then he said, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, it looked professional, it's good. I don't think it's scam, because I had emails with a fraud or a scam offering the pearls of Virgin Mary like every month, right? It's a constant thing. And it looked real and good. And then I was about to, and then he was said, are you sure? And I was like, right? And then I said, something felt like maybe not. So I contacted the company. I finally was able to talk to a representative. I screenshot the email. I said, hey, I have this collaboration proposal, blah, 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 blah. And they said, please disregard. This doesn't come from us. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like a thing to be scam again, and they took my thing, my information, my credit card, whatever, and then got my money like it happened before. But if I wouldn't have listened to my son that says, "Are you sure?" like twice, I was like, that saved me. So be aware that even if you receive an email from Facebook and maybe branded Meta Universe but has a link, it may not come from them, because it was how the first time I was scammed. I mean, they got my money from, my whole information, and this whole journey begins. When I tap to Facebook, they say that there is a part on the settings of your business page that they add, I think it's quality report or mail from Facebook, something like that, I don't remember, that they said if they contacted you or not. Because the scammers are so professional that it will look like it's from the company. But if you receive an email that says, "Sweetie, honey, isn't branded. Oh, my dear, I have been following Instagram. I want to collaborate with you." And it sounds like too cheesy. Like, I will pay $100 for every post that you add as a business partner, because the page, it's above 20,000. I have been receiving these companies like constantly. And now I just ignore, right? I just say, I will just ignore, because what they ask is for me to give them access to the page. And when I give them access, if I do, I have no idea what will follow, but it sounded like too good to be true that they wanted to offer like $1,000 to be added to a partner, even though I know influencers and entrepreneurs, or whatever I'm called, do collaborations with clothing and partnerships to be sponsored, right? But be aware that there's a lot of fake, not only on the social media or companies that could want to support you, but people that may get a service from you, or someone that would use your material, like a copy paste thing. It's a lot of it, because I think we're finding a way, and sometimes you may get desperate to look good or something. I have no idea. So use your intuition. It's still worth it to go on social media if you want it, but you have to go smart into the areas about what you want to do, and the niche that you would like to take on, who's gonna be the public that you're going to direct yourself, and how you would like to approach it. And it depends on your preferences, because there are public for everyone. And the good thing it is that now that everyone can make it on YouTube or on TikTok or something, everyone has a voice, even if they do it for reasons that we may put judgment on it. But the fact that everyone has the opportunity to be heard, that's a blessing, regardless of our process and our learning to discern about how to use that voice. But there is a lot on every area, whether you are spiritual or not. And because you are spiritual, it doesn't mean you are not learning something. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Neither you're more famous astrologer. We're all on this road, or that person would have ascended. But if it's here, even if it's the Dalai Lama, it has something to learn. So no one is higher or lower than anyone. We're all doing our best. Follow your intuition. That voice that is so gentle that we may ignore, that says, "Are you sure?" so you sense where you are and what you should do. But regardless of a mistake that you may have done, like I did, that click on a link that took all my money, there is a lesson on it that for me, it made me more honest with myself, to see what I was afraid that I wasn't seeing, to see that, to remember why I did it in the beginning and why I am here and why I would love to keep being here. But regardless of what I expect and what I think, to drop all of my expectations and said, okay, universe, I'll surrender, because this is beyond what I can do, beyond my comprehension, and I will just give it to you and you figure out. So that level of trust and confidence is not only because it sounds so beautiful when you post it in your meme, it's because we go and practice it. And that practice is part of the integrity and accountability that we're learning as human beings, regardless of if we're spiritual or not, if we do law of attraction or not, or whatever, starseed or whatever is your thing. Ask yourself in which things you can have more integrity, in which things you want to see yourself with honesty into what you can do and where you would like to go, and in which areas of your life you are holding yourself because it may sound too good. It must be a cash thing hidden, or it's scary that it don't last. It doesn't matter that it don't last. It's worth it. It's worth it because it's the journey what matters. It also matters what we become of it. The conditions, those ain't matter. It matters what stays within. And on the persons that we resonate, that we learn one to each other, that's worth it. But God has different journeys. We don't all have to go through the same thing. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. I don't even know who is more famous in YouTube or who is the better light language speaker. I don't want to compare myself. I don't want to dare that I have envy or that I judge or anything. I am my own competition. So to avoid judgment or critique or anything, I don't see, I don't know, I don't look. I only look on what I can do and what I can do better. But what you can do is going to be on your own end. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be sharing. When I was searching on YouTube about scams, there is a lot of channel about scams and spirituality that actually it was funny. One person was saying that she was charged $45,000 for a live coaching course, that it was going to purge her to earn a six figures amount monthly. That was a lot. I said, oh my God, that's nothing compared with what happened to me, with what happened to that person. So even though may not everyone be too honest, or maybe they don't know that's not the way, according to my beliefs, but maybe it's justified on their journey. Always do your best from what you think is true, and even if something feels like a mistake, try to get whatever lesson that's positive you can take on it. And if you find at least one thing positive, then it was worth it. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Have a beautiful rest of your day.